Phew. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. So, I've got some interesting news here. Um, Terrence Parsons, his legend is growing. Terrence Parsons made it on with Mike Fisher, and Terrence Parsons commenting on his brother's contract. Interesting that he says that the contracts are going on and that it will be a team friendly deal. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is a cheap deal, but hinted at it being like a 5 year deal, which is what you want if you're the Cowboys. If you think back to Tyron Smith's contract when he originally signed, he signed for like an 8 year deal. Now, the Cowboys have always liked longer deals. That way, they don't have to do the work so soon. But I believe it was an 8 year deal for Tyron Smith. At the time, it was for $90 million. And people were going crazy that they'd never seen a contract so big. For that contract, the Cowboys did really well. And they used that contract like a piggy bank because they kept redoing, redoing it over and over and over again to get more cash to be able to spend more money. So that would be an interesting take if the Cowboys did do like a 5 year deal with Micah Parsons for probably like $200 million. It gives them flexibility to kind of kick that money down the road and so on. One thing that's I find interesting is with the Cowboys, you look at the contracts. The Cowboys contracts, like with Dak Prescott, are front loaded that by 27 they can get out of his deal without a problem. But if you look at the Eagles, the way they've structured, they have so much dead money that's in like 28, 29, 30. In fact, if you look at over the cap, they have voidable years that go all the way out to 2035, 10 years from now. And so when you start looking and seeing that they have like $200 million of void money in 2029, I think it is, and like A.J. Brown has $53 million of voidable money that's in 2030, you understand how the Eagles are doing it. They're just kicking the can down the road until they hope that the salary cap is just that much more, or that they win a couple more Super Bowls and just say it's okay. We're going to have to start all over. It's not a bad philosophy, and it's working for them. One thing that's interesting to me is if you are a wide receiver on the Cowboys right now, if you are Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Jonathan Mingo, and Paris Campbell, right now you're probably feeling pretty good because the wide receiver veteran market is insane. Now, we saw that Stephon Gilmore signed a $69 million deal. Now, technically, it's only $26 million guaranteed, so really it's like a 1 year deal. It's kind of like Von Miller signed a huge, like $53 million deal. Although the first year he was pretty much injured and didn't do much. But it's really $26 million for 1 year. And then they have the options for the other years. But I kind of understand, when I look at these numbers right now for the veteran wide receivers that seem to have baggage, you go through and you look at, let's say, $26 million for Stephon coming back from an ACL. Now, they say he's ahead of schedule, that he should be ready to start the season and stuff, but I've been that route with Michael Gallup. $26 million guaranteed, 3 years, $69 million. I think about Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp now sounds kind of like a bargain. His deal, $15 million a year, $45 million for 3 years. And then you got Debo for his trade. He's at $17 million. Who did I miss? The thing is, every one of those guys, you have question marks. Cooper Cup, been injured, missing 5 games each year the last 3 years, and his numbers have gone down. Stephon Gilmore was still performing well in Houston before he got hurt, but he tore his ACL. And Debo, who out of necessity needed to have a monster season, really didn't. And so you wonder, will these guys pan out to what they need? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. There's DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't think Hopkins signed for. I think Hopkins is like $12 million. And so we as Cowboy fans, we look at this and say, well, the Cowboys, they don't care about winning. Well, I'm not sure at that kind of money that would have been the best bet. Now, you can give me your thoughts on that and tell me what you think. But I think the Cowboys, when you look at them not going for a starter on the offensive line and not going out and getting a major quarterback, that they're looking at it as coaching is going to be the difference for us. What's interesting when you think about the Dallas Cowboys, for example, their offensive line, Jimmy Johnson, when I had that interview with them, saying that, it wasn't just that we had a lot of high draft picks and we just drafted better than everybody else. They had coaches that could teach. Mark Tuinei was a defensive tackle. Mark Spignowski was a guard. There were no number one draft picks on the offensive line like we have nowadays. They took raw talent and they developed it. Now, I don't know if the coaching staff that we have right now can do that. Now, White Cotton, he's been a defensive line guru, it seems like, with the Jets and has done great things with them. If he can do that with Solomon Thomas, with that, get Osa Ndigazua to another level, get Mozzie Smith. And Mozzie Smith, if you look at where he started to where he ended last year, he was a better player. I still, of course, am burning that candle for Calais Campbell, too. And that's right, I'm annoying the hell out of all the people that are saying, you're just a one-trick pony. I'm going to keep doing it till the Cowboys at least kick the tires on him, he retires, or he signs with another team. But we do need more help there. But I think that's what the Cowboys are looking at. Or they're just waiting to make a big move. If they had made a move for Stephon Gilmore or for Cooper Kupp or any of these big-name guys, they lose that comp pick. I know to you guys right now, you're like, screw the comp pick, and things like that. But having those 3 extra 5s this year and that 6 gives you some flexibility that if you do want to make a trade, and you see now a lot of guys that are being traded for these late round picks, that there's still possibilities that they can use these. And maybe the Cowboys package up 2 5s and move back up. Maybe they get back into the 4th round. So all these things are part of the equation. And when you talk about $26 million basically this year, even though you've spread it out with the void years and everything else, do you really want to spend about 10 or 15 million for Stephon? For 1 year, for this year, and you're going to be paying for it for a couple of more years? I'm not sure that would have been the wise move. But I am happy to hear at least Terrence Parsons is optimistic about Micah Parsons getting his deal. The thing is with the Cowboys, they're changing what they're doing. And we didn't get here overnight. The Cowboys have been doing stuff the same way for 30 years. For 30 years. You're not going to be able to turn around and do everything differently in 1 year. It takes time. So there's that. Other than that, ain't nothing going on but the rent. So, what a difference a day makes. It's a little different for me tonight than it was last night. I think for me, I just had a lot of things converging at the same time that the pot boiled over. Sometimes life gets hard and kicks you in the ass. So, remember, good people, nothing is guaranteed and nothing is promised for any of us. And so we got to do the best we can every single day. I appreciate y'all. Good night, and we'll see you soon. Peace.